Okay, everyone, thank you so much. This is Susan. So sorry about the little bit of a delay. We had some technical issues here, so we've got everything sorted out. Before we begin, I just want to know, can everybody hear me? Please let me know. I'm going to enable chat right now. Let me know if you are able to hear me. Just type it in the chat box. Can you hear me? And can you see me? I'll just wait a little bit. Can everybody hear me and see me? And you're looking to the chat box on the left of your screen. So right over on the screen, you've got awesome. Thank you, Alyssa. Okay, so if Alyssa can hear me, I'm going to assume that most people can hear me. If you can't hear me at any point in time, just let me know. So welcome, welcome, welcome to the Naturalista Hangout with my guest, Keina Morgan. I'm very, very, very excited to have Keina on. Keina is a curl specialist. So we're going to talk to Keina today. We're going to kind of pick her brain and get to kind of find out a little bit more about her and what her branding is and what her brand of hairstyling and curl specialty is. And have an opportunity towards the end of the Hangout for a few questions that any of you might have. So let's begin. So welcome, Keina. Thank you so much for being on today.
Can you see me? Can everyone see me? Can everyone else see me?
Yeah, I think everyone else can see you. Can everyone see Keina?
Okay,
just
hi, everyone. Hello. I see Diane's in the room. Diane Noel, what's up? And, oh, she's sending love. Who else? That's the only person. Oh, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. I see you. Okay, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me on Naturalista Hangout. It's my first time actually doing a hangout, so I'm really excited to be doing this. Thank you for having me again.
So thank you, Keina, for attending. Now, just a little bit of background, everybody. Keina, I saw Keina years ago when I went to a pretty well-known salon here in Toronto, specializing in curly hair. And she wasn't styling my hair, somebody else was styling my hair. Anyway, I left there, and it was years later, and I saw Keina again at another natural hair hangout or event. And I said to her, I said, you know, Keina, did you work at, can I say it?
Yes, go ahead.
I said, did you work at Curl Ambassadors? And she said, yes. And then she and I kind of struck up a conversation. We were at the same event. And I said, you know what, Keina, I really need a style. I need to come see you because I remember seeing Keina's hair. I remember seeing her cut, and I remember seeing her color at the time when she worked at Curl Ambassadors. And I loved it. And I said, you know what, I need to come see you. So we got, struck up a conversation. She said, yeah, come and see me, and, I'll hook you up. And at that point in time, if anyone has been following me over the years, my hair was very long. It was about shoulder length, natural, no real style to it, no real color, no real pizzazz to it. So I went to Keina, and I said, Keina, here's what I want. I want to go short. And she's like, are you kidding? I said, no, I'm not. I want to take my hair short. I need something to kind of, lift me up a little bit, pick me up. My hair is very drab. It's just blah. The color was just, it was just very blah. So we did a little bit of a mini consultation, and I just want to say from the get-go that as soon as I went to Keina at the salon she's working at, I instantly felt just very comfortable. She made the whole experience very, very comfortable, very good. I know that, for some women, when they get their hair cut and they get anything done to their natural hair, they might be a little bit hesitant. So when I went to see her, I felt very comfortable. I knew I was in very capable hands. So she gave me a cut. And I can't remember if you gave me a color at that time, Keina. I think it was just a cut first. And it was short. I liked it, but I wanted to go shorter. So Keina said to me, she's like, you know what? Sit on this for about a week or so. If you want it shorter, come back to me, and I'll do it for you. So I sat in it for a week or so, and my husband says to me when I went home, she's like, I thought you were going to go a little bit shorter. And that was confirmation that I needed to go even shorter to where I originally wanted to be. So I went back to her.
Susan,
yes, go ahead.
You did do the color. We did do it, but the color wasn't as vibrant as it is now. I had given you a little highlight just to kind of get you into the whole idea.
Give me a little subtle highlights, and Jason's like, I thought you were going to go blonde. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go blonde. And why is that important? I think that's important because at that time, Keina didn't take me to where, some hairdressers or some stylists might take you really short and might, you know, give you the extreme of what you want. She didn't do that, and I want to thank her for that, because it gave me time to kind of get used to the shortness of my hair and the color, to say, you know what, I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I went back a couple weeks later, and then she gave me the cut that you see now and the color that you see now, and I absolutely love it. So I thought I'd have her on because she really specializes in curly hair care, and she can kind of help me and you know, you out there with maybe some of the issues or some of the challenges that you're experiencing with your hair right now, help you in terms of guidance with how to take care of your hair, how to take care of your hair in between sessions at the stylist, and maybe a bunch of other tips that I can't even think of. So Kina, let's start with you. Tell me what it is that you do specifically.
So my main focus and specialty is curly hair. But for me, like, I do so much things. I remember working for someone years ago before Curl Ambassadors, and they asked me, if it's that one thing you could specialize in, what would it be? And I just said, like, why do I need to specialize in one thing? You know, I want to specialize in everything. So curly hair has just pretty much found me through my journey. I absolutely love it. It helped me to kind of come to terms and understand my hair. And once understanding my hair, I can help others understand their hair as well. And it's just so rewarding to let people, just to have people see how beautiful their natural hair can be in its natural state, and teach them how to care for it on their own, because a lot of times there's not really much out there that's helping you deal with your own hair type and texture. So I love that about working with curly hair. But I specialize in coloring as well, which, you know, I'm a Chi color specialist and educator, and I work with Chi. I also do a lot of work on my own as well with doing events and workshops, and we've done a workshop in November, which was awesome. So that's the kind of direction that I want to go in, more education, but still doing hair as well, because I love it and I can't stop thinking about it. I just love doing hair extensions as well. I do extensions. I specialize in extensions.
Wow, okay.
And weaving and hair make. It's so much. So pretty much everything. Like, I love doing everything.
Okay. And so that leads me to a few other questions just regarding color, because a lot of naturals might want to color their hair, but there's so much information about coloring, about how it's damaging your hair. And, you know, as a natural, we want to make sure that our hair is as healthy as possible. We want to minimize any damage, any breakage. So tell me about, you know, color in general. What are some of the myths out there that you can maybe dispel about coloring the hair, and what are some things that, you know, as naturals, if we're choosing a stylist who's coloring our natural hair, that we should maybe look for?
Great question. So definitely a lot of, some of the myths that people might have with coloring their hair is that it might break their hair, it might break off, it's going to dry the hair out, and it's just outright just damaging to the hair. And that myth, I'm going to have to say that that's just a myth according to your hair type and texture and what you're doing to your hair in the process. If your hair is completely natural, it's totally okay to color your hair. Some people's hair is stronger than other people's hair. For type 4 curls, black African hair, we have cottony hair, we have spongy hair, and we have wiry hair, as well as, you know, like tighter curls and a little bit more of a zigzag curl where the hair pattern doesn't really curl that much. Mm-hmm. And so you got to take into consideration, you know, can my hair handle this color, you know, becoming so light, or, you know, can my hair handle this? And definitely it's good to have a consultation first with a stylist that is licensed for coloring, because when you're dealing with chemicals and lightening and depositing color in the hair, it's really scientific. You know, you really have to know how the hair structure works and how that product line works with your hair. Now, the color line that I use in the salon and that I use on your hair is the Chi Permanent Shine It's the Chi Ionic Permanent Shine color. What I love about this color line is that it's an ammonia-free color line.
Okay.
And this is major for naturals because what ammonia does is a gas. So in the hair, it's unstable. It's an unstable gas where you don't get a stable reaction. It just kind of opens the cuticles and it never really closes properly. And what I like about the Chi Ionic color is that after a certain amount of time, it stops processing. It just doesn't keep on going. Like, say if you don't wash out the ammonia color properly, you can, like, say if you go in the sun, it can continue to develop and process, and over time, that can really damage your hair, especially if you didn't wash it out properly or treat your hair with the proper steps afterwards.
Okay.
So, that's coloring is great. It's fun. You just have to make sure that the person who's coloring your hair knows what they're doing.
Okay. Now, along the same lines as coloring, a lot of naturals like to add henna to their hair. What is I guess, can you talk a little bit about henna and maybe how henna compares to the Chi color line that you are talking about?
What henna is, it's a plant-based product that stains the hair. And what I think people really like about the henna is that it's giving support to the hair. It's filling in the porosity that sometimes type 4s have, because with every bend and turn in the hair, the cuticle layers open and it's a weak point in the hair. So the henna works as a filler, and it just gives the hair so much more strength, and when the hair is darkened, it just gives it a really nice glow and shine. And because you're darkening the hair, the pigments are actually sitting on top, the molecules are bigger, so it just helps to give the hair a healthier feel. With the Chi Ionic color lines, you can still get really good results without staining the hair, because once henna is in the hair, it's really hard to take that out. So I love the fact that with my color, like for my hair, I dyed it, and I dyed it a natural black, and it's just a semi. It's still very vibrant. My hair feels more healthier, thicker. It's less prone to breakage. It's almost like a treatment.
Okay.
Whenever you're depositing. So I really like that. I don't usually use henna because it doesn't work well with professional color lines.
Okay. Now, would you say that maybe for someone who might want to take their hair a little bit darker, not as light, they might want to go a henna option versus someone who, for example, like me, wanted to go blonde from like really dark brown hair, then a permanent hair color or, the Chi color would work best?
If you want to go darker, you have so many options. Some people even use coffee to darken their hair.
Coffee?
Yeah,
wow.
So you can use it as a rinse out.
Okay.
And so you have coffee, you just kind of let it cool down, and you kind of let it sit in your hair for a bit, and that helps to richen the color of your hair without, putting henna in or coloring. Henna, on the other hand, that's something that you can do at home. It takes a lot of time to do. I don't do henna, so it's not something that I recommend because it doesn't work for me and my color line, but other people use it and they love it, and some people swear by it. So if you really feel that you want to try it, I say go ahead, try it, and see how it feels in your hair. It doesn't really, the feeling doesn't last forever, and that's with anything that you do. Eventually washes out.
Okay. And still on the line of color, because like I said, there's so many, oh, you should stay away from it, or you should just use henna, or just use a semi-permanent or whatever. So I'm going to stay with this because honestly, for me, and the ability to love my hair, and that love your hair is basically my mantra, really. And I found that after I got a really good cut and a color, my personality just started to come out more. So I'm a big believer in color, everybody. I really am. And the type of color that you get for your hair is just definitely going to be individual. But, I remember you saying something to me. If you're going to go lighter, then you definitely need a hair treatment. So let's talk about that for someone who might opt for like a lighter color in their hair, or, blonde highlights or whatever it is. How do we take care of it after we leave the salon?
Absolutely. Treatments are a must. And I try to tell my clients, to really focus on treating their hair every 2 weeks or every week, depending on the severity of damage that has been done to their hair over time. But treating your hair is absolutely a must. When you treat it, you want to kind of have a protein moisture balance treatment.
Yep.
Sorry, is it echoing too much?
It's a little bit, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. So a moisture balance treatment is really, a moisture protein balance is good because you're going to give your hair the strength that it needs and the hydration that it needs to support a healthy living, healthy hair. Treating it once every 2 weeks is pretty ideal. You want to treat it with a little bit of heat. That helps to really penetrate the product into the hair better. And even try using a little bit of natural oil. You mix a little bit of natural oils within your treatment, and that really helps to beef it up and help it to work as a humectant better for your hair.
Okay, awesome. And so that's a great segue into after people or after clients leave your chair, what can they do to maintain their style, to maintain what you've done with them, regardless of if it's a cut or color, until they see you next, which might be 4 to 6 weeks later, it might be 2 weeks, depending on, what the client is getting done. So let's talk about maintenance of natural hair. What are your thoughts, or what are your tips that you can give people?
Well, really, it basically comes down to how you plan to wear your hair that week or that month. If you're going to be doing like a wash and go, like what I do. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can everybody else hear Kina?
It just sounds like really echoey. I wonder if people can hear me properly. Okay, hopefully it's okay. Anybody complaining? Okay. So where was I?
Just it depends on how you wear your hair in terms of what you're going to do to maintain your hair during the week.
Okay, so for instance, with my wash and go, I can cover it tonight and wake up tomorrow, it will be fine. But by the third day, I will need to reactivate the moisture in the hair. My best way to reactivate the moisture is to dampen it a little bit with some water in the shower, and take a little bit of leave-in conditioner and a little bit of gel, run it through my hair till my hair is wet till it pretty much falls over, and then just kind of recoil some of the curls that went frizzy and let it air dry, or put myself under the hooded dryer, and that way my hair is getting the moisture that it needs and the hold that it needs from the styling product. For instance, if someone's doing a twist out like what you normally do, this style can last a lot longer, and I know you're great for keeping your styles up to like 2 weeks just by refreshing it in the night.
It's Tuesday, so I did this Saturday night, opened it on Sunday, it's Tuesday, so this is what, day 2 hair maybe, and all I do is this, look, at the front. I just take this and I put an elastic band around this because it stretches this part a little bit. I sleep on a pillowcase, and I get up in the morning after I run, and I run too, after I run, and after I'm in the shower, this is what I do. This is what I do, guys.
Well, does it get wet in the shower?
No, it's just the humidity and the mist, and I just shake, and I go, and that's it. So that's how I maintain my style.
I mean, it looks so nice, and you don't have to do a lot of maintaining. I recommend twist outs for type 4B, type 4Cs, hair textures that are really thick and have a lot of density, because you don't want to be wetting it every day like what I would do.
Right.
Wash and go.
Right.
It's not really good to wear your hair every day anyways, because you know, it can cause your hair to get very brittle on the hair shaft.
Right.
You're going to be doing like a protective style, like say like braids. You just want to make sure your scalp is nicely hydrated, and you want to make sure your scalp is clean, and you know, you always want to tie your hair down at night with a satin pillowcase. Not no, you don't tie your hair down with a satin bonnet or a pillowcase that is silk, or you know, something that's gonna keep the hair from drying out and from rubbing throughout the night while you're tossing and turning.
Okay. And you made a good point about a protective styling, and I know that a lot of women opt for protective styling during the summertime, wintertime, just because it tends to be so cold, their hair tends to be a lot drier, and they probably, you know, want to hibernate, their hair to hibernate, much like they like to hibernate in the wintertime. So talk to me about good protective styling, because I know that, you know, some people might opt for braids. Crochet braids seems to be the hottest thing now. So what are like some of the best protective styles that women could wear? And then how do we take care of our hair underneath those protective styles, or do we even need to?
Absolutely, you should always be taking care of your hair and your scalp, keeping it hydrated and clean. But some of the really good protective styles, one is the crochet. That's my favorite, the crochet braids. I'm waiting for someone to come do my hair for me. I'm always doing everyone's hair, so I'll try and get that one day.
What do you like about the crochet braids? Sorry to interrupt you, but what do you like about it so much?
I love the fact that it's a very light. It's a lightweight styling. I mean, it's a lightweight protective style. It's low tension hairstyle, and you can, depending on the hair that you use, you can pretty much even go swimming, wash your hair, and take care of your scalp, and still have the style rocking for such a long period of time. Some of my clients go up to 8 weeks with their crochet braids, and I like to use the free tress braiding hair. That one is for
free tress. Free tress braiding hair. FREETRESS.
Yes, the free tress.
So everyone, I don't know if you heard that, free tress braiding hair for crochet braids. So why do you like to use it?
So basically, I use a latch, and you hook the hair through the cornrows. So we make cornrows in the hair, and it's a really fast process. It actually doesn't take that long. So you get a protective style that takes about 3 hours to do, and it lasts you up to eight weeks, and you can still get to your scalp and hydrate it. So it's almost like interlocking. I don't know if you guys remember interlocking back in the days, but it's just like a new way of saying interlock now with crochet braids. And there's so much to do it. You can do knotless. You can do, you know, some people even use the Marley hair. And my friend Cherish, she's awesome at that. She presets the hair. She brushes it out, presets it, and then puts it in her hair, and it looks like it's like a twist out or a wash or like a set, flexi rod set, and it just looks so natural when she does it. I mean, there's so much ways you can play around with your natural texture and creating a protective look that looks very natural and fun.
Okay, so would you say that for a protective style, that based on, you know, your experience in terms of it being less damaging to the hair and scalp, that crochet braids would be your #1 choice?
For me, I love it because you don't have to worry about your hair, like, you know, combing your hair. You don't have to worry about any leave outs or anything. Another good protective style is two-strand twist. Nobody can beat two-strand twist. I mean, it's so easy to do. If you lock your hair up and keep it in the twist, it's even better because the less you're fingering and touching the hair, the better it has a chance to grow and not break and not get damaged through the harsh weather that we have here in Toronto, Canada, and North America. Also, twisting with the Afro bulk hair. I don't know if you guys. They almost look like natural twists. It's with the Afro bulk hair, and I love that hair because it looks so natural. It curls on the ends, and it's lightweight. Anything that's lightweight, that's not going to be too heavy on the hair, too heavy on the hairline, is an awesome protective style, especially for people with very weak hair.
Okay, awesome. So crochet braids seem to be the #1 type of pick for protective styling. However, you can also do twist outs, twists. And how do we take care of our hair underneath the crochet braids, Kina?
So just keep making sure that your scalp is clean. I like to use a scalp serum. It's from
Okay.
all natural, and it has just a whole bunch of, it has an astringent in there that helps to clean the scalp. And then I like to just like mist it with a little bit of hydrating spray, and then you can just basically oil the hair, just kind of oil it a little bit just to lock the moisture in with a lightweight oil like jojoba oil. That will help to seal the moisture in a little bit better. Like for me, my favorite protective styling is throwing on my wig. It's just so easy for me, and I can run. It's not always the best option, but for me it works because I'm always on the run. I'm always on the go. I can wash it at night, let it hang and dry, and like 2 minutes later, I'm looking fabulous leaving the house. So that's a really fast way for me. How I normally take care of my hair underneath my wig, it's just a little bit more easier for me to get to my hair. I like doing that. I like the fact that I can comb my hair out. I can wash it once a week. I can treat it, and I can trim it if I need to, and just be on the go. So, you know, definitely hydrating it at night before you go to bed, and making sure it's a little bit hydrated before you actually get in there and start really combing it out and playing with it. And just always making sure your scalp is hydrated and clean. It's a big thing that will help healthy hair grow from your scalp.
Okay. And you mentioned astringents, so I just want to let all of you know out there that a really good astringent oil is tea tree oil. You don't want to use tea tree oil to moisturize your hair. You can use tea tree oil on the scalp, though, as Kina said, to kind of cleanse the scalp under the protective styling. So, you know, maybe an idea is to maybe put some tea tree oil either on a Q-tip or something like that and just rub it on your scalp. It's an astringent oil by nature, so which tends to, anything that's astringent is going to kind of cause some type of drying or some type of contraction to happen to the scalp. Tea tree oil is used for it's used as, some people use it as an antibacterial, antimicrobial. It has a lot of really great benefit. But if you're not washing your hair under, or cleansing your hair, so to speak, underneath the protective style, you can use tea tree oil just on the scalp area and just kind of rub it in a little bit. And you've got a spray there. So what are you showing us here?
This is what I like to use. This is my tea tree natural scalp serum. In there it has witch hazel, distilled water, tea tree, peppermint, a whole bunch of extracts, rosemary extract, sage, which is great for breakage, for irritation in the scalp. Can you guys see this properly? You can catch this at the hair store. I also have it in the salon for sale. And it's from Fantasia, and I love this stuff. It really helps to give the scalp a nice refreshed feel, and then you just hydrate with your moisture spray right after. And it's all natural stuff in there. It's great, lots of essential oils and essential stimulants that will help soothe and heal your scalp. So this is my go-to. As you were talking about tea tree, this is a tea tree scalp serum, which I love.
It sounds like a great formula. It has the witch hazel extract in there, which is also astringent. So, by the way, I'm not affiliated with this product. I just, I'm not. It just sounds like a great product for, you know, kind of cleansing the scalp if you don't want to shampoo the hair and you're wearing a protective style. Now,
exactly.
You mentioned briefly swimming, and I get a lot of questions from women. I swim, you know, whether it's 2 to 3 times a week or once a week or whatever. How can I take care of their hair? And honestly, Kina, I don't have an answer for them, because when it comes to the chlorine and getting the hair wet, it becomes very tricky because you have to rinse that out. So do you have any tips or anything that you can share with people on how they can, if they swim, how they can kind of protect their hair or take care of their hair?
Absolutely. Swimming, you know, if you're swimming 3 times a week, I mean, that's major. You should be wearing a swim cap. And regardless, with wearing the swim cap, you're going to get some water on your hair. That's just what's going to happen. Your hair is going to get wet somewhere or another. It might not get drenched, but it will get wet. If it does get wet, it's important to wash the chlorine out your hair, because it does leave a buildup in the hair, which in turn can make the hair very dry, and then from being dry, it can get really brittle and then break. So be sure to clarify out your hair, or what you can do is wash your hair with your regular shampoo. And a really cool trick that I love, I like to make a rebalancing cleansing tonic with apple cider vinegar and water. And I usually like the apple cider vinegar with the mother ingredient. It's formulated at a 3.5 on the pH scale, and then water is formulated at 7. So you mix them half and half, and then you should get to about 4.5 on the pH scale, and that will help to rebalance the pH level in your hair. How you apply it: after you shampoo, you put it in a spray bottle, spritz it on the hair and the scalp, leave it on for about 5 minutes, rinse it out with lukewarm water to cooler water, and then you go ahead and you can condition and treat your hair like you normally would do. And that helps to rebalance the pH level in the hair, because with the chlorine, it's very high in pH, and it really throws off the balance of your hair.
Okay, that's an awesome tip. And just a follow-up question to that is, people will wash their hair after they swim, but then, how do I style it then? Because I'm washing my hair, let's say, 3 times a week. Is the reality that if you swim 3 times a week, that you're going to constantly have to wash your hair 3 times a week, or is there a day that you can get by without washing your hair, where you're just maybe washing it once or twice a week? What's the reality there for the expectation?
The reality is that you should wash it out. Don't keep it in your hair. You can put conditioner in your hair to protect your hair before, but you're gonna have to wash it out. You don't want to absolutely don't want to leave that in your hair. You don't want to leave chlorine at all. Not at all. So the reality is, if you want to go swimming and stuff like that, and you don't want to have to style your hair every day, choose a protective style like some braids or cornrows or twists, something that's going to kind of lock your hair in, so you're not going through it every 3 days or so.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that advice. I would like to know, what are the main challenges that you see or that women experience that sit down in your chair with natural hair? What are they telling you about? What are they concerned with? Give me maybe the top 3 challenges that you're finding with women.
Number 1, my hair is dry. Number 2, it is frizzy.
Okay.
Number 3, it tangles so much.
Right. Okay.
It's breaking and tangling. So those are the list goes on, but those are the main 3 that I hear all the time.
Those are the top 3. And could you agree? Can you agree? And we'll talk about Kina's hydration tips in a minute. But can you agree that when your hair is properly hydrated, that basically it takes care of a lot of the other issues that some women will have, as long as it's moisturized? Anything else kind of follows suit?
Absolutely. It actually goes hand in hand with a good trim as well, especially if you haven't had your hair trimmed in a long time. So when it's hydrated and when the ends are trimmed, it's just a miracle. Like, you can get through your hair so much easier. You have less tangling, less breaking. Your hair absorbs moisture a lot better, and it looks more healthier, because it's able to absorb the moisture a lot better. So having hydrated hair really solves a lot of stuff. You're gonna have less. It's not gonna look so dull. It's gonna look more shiny when it's hydrated, and as well, your hair will be soft, so it's not gonna be so brittle, and it won't break as easy in your hand when you touch it.
Okay, so definitely with hydration, I have like an hour-and-a-half long webinar that your eyes kind of glaze over because it's jam-packed with information on how to achieve moisture-drenched natural hair that I will be doing at some point in time on this Naturalista Hangout. So don't you worry if you haven't seen it already, or even if you have, you can do it with a refresher. But I want you to give me some tips on how to hydrate hair, because that is very, very, there's so much information. You've seen it. There's so much information and people can get lost in it. So I like to make things complicated and then simplify, but I need you to just give me maybe the top 3 tips on how women can hydrate their hair like tonight or tomorrow.
One, you definitely can make a hydrating spray at home by using your leave-in conditioner and just taking some distilled water or water that just not straight from the tap, filtered water, whatever the case may be, mixing it up in a spray bottle with a little bit of water and oil, natural oil, and you can spritz that on your hair tonight. Make sure that your leave-in conditioner doesn't have any silicones or anything that is going to have any artificial ingredients that can leave a buildup on the hair over time. But hydrating your hair, it all starts with the shampoo that you're using all the way down to how you're finishing your hair, making sure you have a leave-in conditioner, a great styling product, and a good sealant to go on top that's going to seal that moisture in your hair. Some products work as a moisturizer and sealant at the same time. So just looking through what you have and making sure that what you have is hydrated enough and applying that overnight to your hair.
Okay, you spoke about cutting the hair. And you got, people on kind of 2 ends of the spectrum. You've got women who really want long natural hair. It seems to be a lot of women, which in and of itself, and this is just my opinion, I think that if you want long natural hair, you really have to dig deep to find out what your hair type and texture is and how able you are to care for it. Because depending on the hair type and texture, if you don't have a ton of time to spend on your hair, you might be spending a lot of time on your long natural hair. But that's another hangout, folks. But with regards to cutting, tell me about your cutting technique, because I find it very interesting. And it's one of the reasons I kind of went to you in the first place, because I did not want my hair blow dried straight for the simple reason that I didn't know how my hair would respond to the heat. I know people and have family members that once heat was applied to their hair was heat damaged, which I also want you to touch on as well. And I just was afraid. I didn't know how my hair would respond to it. So I did not want my hair blow dried straight to cut. So tell me about your hair cutting technique, because you don't blow dry the hair to cut it, do you?
No. And my cutting technique pretty much is, I call it variation cutting, because there's not just one way that I cut the hair. And not everybody gets the same haircut and the same process that I do. When you sit in my chair, I'm able to look at your hair and see what exactly your hair needs. If you're looking for more of a shape, then I will always start with a dry cut for shaping. What I like to do to keep my work consistent, especially in type 4 curls, is to do a wet cut in between. And the wet cutting is done for me to really give the hair a better shape, a better foundation from the angles that I use to cut the hair on. And also, I'm able to clean up the ends. Usually, we have little wispy spider webs on the ends of our hair, which causes our hair to knot and to tangle. And cutting it wet allows me to see how the hair will shrink up, how the curl pattern is, and it also helps me to get those little wispy pieces and clean them up so it's a nice clean cut on the ends. And that will save your hair from tangling throughout the next few weeks before I see you again for your next service. And then once the hair is styled and dry, I'm able to look at the hair in a different way now, looking at how it sits and frames the face, and then being able to shape according to what your hair needs, or just to see if there's any pieces that I might have missed or anything that might be sitting weird, because, with natural hair, you have different textures. Some parts might sit longer or curlier, or, whatever the case may be. So I do a triple check. And what variation cutting is all the techniques that all the different methods of cutting, all into one, depending on what that person needs, and, giving that client what they need, not just with one certain method. I use all my methods, and that's what I love about my variation cutting.
Okay, awesome. Now, heat damage, because I've seen your Instagram pictures of clients who came in with heat damage before, and the difference that you made after on their hair when you remove those straight ends. If you have women who are absolutely, you know, they're married to the length of their hair and they have straight pieces and they want their hair moisturized and they want their hair to look good, what is one of the things you tell them to kind of convince them that, you know what, honey, you have to get rid of these straight ends? And what's the process there? And part two to this question is, can someone still have really good moisturized and hair that falls well with heat damage at the ends of their hair?
That's a really good question. Now, heat damage, I mean, it's really, it's a hard one. It's almost like transitioning, you know, going from relaxed to natural, because you have the two different textures, which makes it very, very hard to work through, especially if you have a really dense hair, like a lot of hair in your head. So, you know, some great tips is, you know, really try to not touch your hair too much. So whatever style that you're going to be doing to your hair, kind of keep it in that style for at least 5 to 7 days without interrupting your hair, because, or washing it, because the more you wash it, the more you're going to have to fight through it. Sometimes the best thing to do is just to cut it off. I mean, if you're like halfway there and you just have those little bits on the ends, it makes such a huge difference with how your curls are going to look and how your texture will thrive. And your hair will actually grow so much faster just getting rid of some of those heat damage. I have some people that love to have their hair straight, and they're natural, and they love to have their hair straight. So another option that I recommend to them, instead of, you know, taking the plunge and doing a relaxer or anything like that, is to do a smoothing treatment. That way your hair is going to stay straight longer, and you don't have to keep pressing it over and over and over again to get a really sleek look. Not everyone will recommend that as a naturalista, but I mean, I give my clients options, because at the end of the day, I mean, everyone, you know, is looking for a way that is manageable for them and easy for them to maintain at home. It's almost like transitioning, you know. You got to really, if you want to be natural or just keep your hair hydrated, you do the same things that you would normally do with your natural hair, even if it's relaxed or have heat damage on the end. You definitely do want to reduce the amount of heat that you use on your hair, because that's just going to prolong the damage. And you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to have healthy hair, you don't want to put heat on it, because the heat dries the hair out. It also helps the hair to split even more. So you're going to have to trim your hair more frequently to reduce any sort of damage that the heat will produce on the hair.
Now, how often in general should we trim our hair?
You know, depending on your hair type and texture. I know some of my type 2s and 3s can go up to 6 months. I don't recommend it, because then the shape grows out and, you know, it starts getting a little bit knotted on the ends, and it's just a little bit harder to get through. The hair is just not hydrated enough, so it just feels a little bit more drier over time. So anyone that has, like, if you're doing a protective style, majority of the time you're twisting it up and you're keeping it locked away, you can go a little bit longer without trimming your hair. But if you're wearing your hair out on a regular basis, it's good to, and you have like very fine hair, I suggest 2.5 months. You don't want to go too long, because with fine hair, it's just like, it just gets really tangled on the ends, and it makes it really hard to get through, especially if you're wearing your hair out on a regular basis. But regularly, anywhere from 3 to 4 months is ideal for trimming your hair and keeping it healthy. And when you trim it, you don't have to cut a lot. A lot of people have the stigma of like, oh my gosh, if I cut my hair, I'm not going to have any hair left, and I'm trying to grow my hair. But if you want to retain length, you have to preserve the ends from breaking, and you got to preserve the ends from getting damaged, and a slight little trim on the ends. You can even do a little dusting. That helps so much. Even at home, I always recommend to my clients, like, if there's a knot on your hair, get a good pair of scissors, something that is nice and sharp, nothing from the dollar store or anything, just a good pair of stainless steel scissors, and find those knots on the ends and just snip it off. It's better to have it off than tangling with the rest of your hair and creating havoc all over your head. So trimming is important. If you find those little knots, just trim, just take it off. It's better to have it off than have it in, or see a specialist that can do it for you.
And I just want to say further to that, if you find those little knots, and I know they're very common in type 4 hair, I used to get them all the time, you don't want to pull them off. You don't want to rip them off, because when you rip them off, what tends to happen is you fray the cuticle. And so remember, for those of you who've heard me speak before, I always talk about the cuticle. The cuticle protects the cortex of the hair. So and that's the precious part of the hair that you want to protect. So anytime you rip those knots off, you're fraying the cuticle even more. So just get a pair of scissors and just cut those knots off.
I cringe every time I hear that snapping noise. It's like, ugh! Oh, don't do that.
So, kind of rip them off, and I'm like, no, honey, no.
I used to do that. I can't believe I used to snap my hair. I used to just pick it. And I wondered, why is my hair so damaged, and why is it? But now, like, I haven't trimmed my hair in a while, because I've been wearing a lot of protective styling, and my ends still feel really great. Mm-hmm. The ends are not as knotted as it would be if when I do a continuous leave out, like leaving my hair out continuously for months at a time. So if you are going to be leaving your hair out, it's good to trim it a little bit often, and you're going to be very grateful when you get it trimmed. It's going to be so much easier to deal with anyways. Yes,
I have experienced that and seen that in people as well. Kina, I mean, we could talk all night about things, and I know we're under, with a time limit. So I just have one more question. For women who are transitioning, there's so many different ways to do it. It's very personal to who you are. I know for me, I am not a long transitioner. I can't deal with a style. I don't even do braids, because I can't deal with wearing braids for a long period of time. So I knew that just my personality type and everything, I could not transition under braids. So I chopped. I big chop. But for people who don't want to take that plunge, who kind of want to transition into being natural, what are some tips that you can give to them?
That's a great question, because a lot of people struggle with this every day. How do I transition properly? Number one thing to remember, you have to keep the hair healthy. I'm sorry, it's starting to sound wonky again, echoey.
And while Kina's kind of fixing her technical issues, everyone, I've enabled the questions, so we'll have some time for Q&A afterwards. So just type in your questions. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible in the next 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, so the biggest struggle for transitioners is breakage.
Breakage. Okay.
So breakage, because you have that line of demarcation where the hair is natural, and then where it's straight. And that point right there where both relaxed and natural meet is a very weak point in the hair. So keeping it hydrated is going to be key for less damage and less dryness. Also, we talked about this, conditioning your hair, doing deep treatments. That's going to really help to leave a mask of moisture on your hair. And treatments, they don't really last that long, probably up to about 10 days. So so kind of try to treat your hair every 2 weeks, just to kind of keep it healthy and hydrated, and a nice mask on top. Again, you definitely want to stay away from heat, because that is the number one tool, problem, what kind of got us there in the first place, or with all the damage and all of that stuff. And you definitely, again, you want to limit your washes, and try to do a lot more protective styles. Some of my favorite protective styles for transitioners is like bantu knots, twisting, or even just doing like a crochet braid, having your hair grow out to a good length before you actually take the plunge and do a big chop. And big chops, not everyone, you don't have to do it nowadays. There's so many different options that you can do for your hair versus doing the big chop. Also as well, there's a lot of hair supplements. I'm not too sure if I talked about it with you before, but some people they take the hair supplements and they're like, oh my gosh, my hair is growing. But sometimes it's just a deficiency that we have.
Yes.
Our
Yes.
body is not like 100% there, so the vitamins actually help
Yes.
to get your deficiency level up, and your hair is now thriving at a healthy, regular rate that it's supposed to be.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And you know, I think I will address it because I'm going to do a hair growth webinar, facts and fallacies type thing. But one of the things with there's not a lot of research supporting hair growth supplements as helping with hair growth because your hair growth rate is genetically determined, and there are different things that can speed or slow down that rate, including hormones. However, when you give your body a supplement, it's just like if you're, for example, deficient in iron and you're tired all the time. Once you give your body that nutrient that you're deficient in, all of a sudden your energy levels increase, as in the case of iron. So the same could be with these hair growth supplements, where you're giving your body what it's already deficient in, because let's face it, most people in North America are deficient in essential nutrients and beyond. And so when you start taking a supplement, then what happens is that increases the nutrient level in your body. It's not necessarily the extra biotin that's in there, because there's no proof that shows, there's no evidence that shows that taking additional biotin for people in North America helps increase hair growth. If you're in a third world country where you're deficient you're really deficient, then yes, it's going to help, but there's no evidence in North America. So that's just basically to just continue with what you're saying about the supplements. But taking supplements definitely is beneficial to overall health, and yes, your hair follicle does need nutrients in order for the growth to occur. So you should be getting supplements in general for overall health that will likely reflect in what seems to be increased hair growth, but what I think is you're just unlocking the genetic potential of your hair growth rate anyway. So that's just my opinion.
And one more thing for going from relaxed to natural, you want to stay away from chemicals. You want to stay away from chemical treatment on the hair.
Coloring the hair while I'm transitioning?
No, don't do it. You're trying to get your hair healthy, you know?
Yeah.
So if you're going to be coloring your hair, just take a big chop and color it.
Right.
You
Gotcha.
know,
Yep.
Because it just makes the hair more weak.
Okay.
And you want the hair to be healthy and thrive. And also getting good products. You need good, healthy products. That is going to help the hair to stay hydrated. What I love about your line treatment, the Earth Tone Naturals, is that you have a butter, you have a twisting styling cream, you have alleviating moisture, and shampoo and condition. So like you cover pretty much everything that you need to transition, as well as to have healthy, hydrated hair. Or if you want great curls, you have that all. So that's one of the reasons why I really love your line, because you get the good quality ingredients that I just don't really find that often, especially from a Canadian point of view, like that specializes in type 4 product. Type 4 hair
awesome.
product.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that plug, Kina. Okay. So that kind of wraps up the questions that, I mean, we covered the whole spectrum here today. I'm sure there's so much more that we can discuss. But I just want to take some questions, and I have a few questions here. One, Clavia asked, what is a good detangling method for type 4 hair that's fine and coily?
Fine and coily.
Yes.
You know, if it's fine and coily, you know, you got to look at, when was the last time you had your hair trimmed? Because if it's fine and coily, it probably tangles up really easy and quite a lot. So you might just need a trim, and that will really help the detangling to be so much easier. When you are detangling, use a very hydrating conditioner. Start at the ends of the hair. Always apply your conditioner to the ends of the hair, and use your fingers as your detangling method versus a comb. Some people that have thick, curly hair that have very sensitive scalp, I always just go to my detangling brush. It's a flat surface brush that is designed to detangle through super coily hair, and it just makes your detangling so much easier. Always just use your fingers to go through after, because that helps to really move the product through the hair a lot better and really start to set the curls in their curl families a lot better.
So to answer your question, if you didn't hear it, it's basically use your fingers, start at the end. I used my fingers after I saw Kina detangle someone's hair that's very similar to mine, type 4, very thick. Yes, it took a long time. So be prepared if you have really thick hair to spend some time detangling. But it made a huge difference. So it minimized the amount of hair loss that I actually experienced when I did the finger detangling. And I also did it on my daughters as well, and the amount of hair loss was minimal. So definitely finger detangle. Another question. Oh, what is your, and kind of on the same lines, what is your suggestion for good detangling methods before washing your hair?
That's a good one. You know, depending on the state of your hair, if it's been in, if it's dry, you want to hydrate it a little bit. Spray it first, and you can just lightly mist it and brush it, like kind of brush it out. I like to brush it with a detangling brush because it's, you know, more gentler. Some people might not want to even do anything unless the conditioner is in their hair first. But, you know, kind of get through them gently with your fingers, or just when your hair is dry and you brush it, it's so much better to detangle when it's dry versus when it's wet and you're brushing it. So start off with brushing it first before you wet it. But if it has snags on the end, it's likely when you wet your hair, it's going to get tangled again after you shampoo it, or with the shampoo in there. So make sure your shampoo is very hydrated, and it helps with kind of loosening up the hair for better detangle when you get to the condition.
And I'm just going to add to that, Karen, that the Earth Tones Naturals Detangler is an excellent detangler before you wash your hair. I've used that a few times when my hair was longer, and you know, I just let my hair go for 3 or 4 weeks at a time without washing. Not recommended, but you know, my hair was thicker and it was longer and it took a lot of time. But I would section my hair off as much as possible, use the detangling spray, saturate my hair with it. It foams up, and that's okay, but it creates this amazing slip, and so I was able to run my fingers through my hair or run a brush through my hair, section my hair before I washed it. So the detangling spray is a great, it honestly works very, very well. You just have to make sure that you saturate your hair with the detangler. So that's Earth Tones Naturals Detangler.
That's great, because we have some in stock and I haven't used it personally yet, so I'll definitely try this spray. That's the last one I have left to use.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I also use it on my daughter's hair. I have 2 daughters; they both have different hair textures, and I would use it on each of their hair before washing, and I would use the tangle teaser brush, right? But some people don't like that tangle teaser, but you have to have some type of conditioner or something with slip on the hair before you use that brush. It was amazing. It was a lifesaver. So I would saturate their hair with it, and then finger detangle the ends a little bit, and then run the brush through it, and then twist their hair and get it prepped for washing. So those are great tools to have if you're going to use the tangle teaser or the Denman. I personally don't like the Denman, but some people love it. Then you have to have something with slip. You have to have a conditioner before you use those tools. So another question, what do you recommend to thicken edges? So someone might have, maybe some thinning hair around the edges. What do you recommend to thicken it? Or is there anything that can thicken it?
Oh, this one, I mean, this question gets asked quite a lot. You know, it depends on the state of your edges. Are you going to be preventing your edges from getting damaged more, or are you just want to thicken it more? Some people use castor oil. I've heard of castor oil. I personally haven't used castor oil. Right now I'm trying, one of my friends make this magic oil. I'm trying this magic oil out on my edges. It's supposed to grow your hair back and take care of breakage. So the main thing is preventing. You know, you want to prevent your edges from going. So, you know, less tension around the edges. If you are going to be wearing your wigs and all that stuff, make sure that you have a foundation braid going around your hair so that clip can go into the braid versus the clip going into your hair, because what that does, it just really pulls the hair out, especially so just kind of just having preventive methods. Massaging the scalp more frequently will help. like spending some time and actually just massaging to get better blood flow, circulation to the area.
Yeah.
But pretty much, if there's no hair growing out of your scalp in that area, chances are it probably won't grow back. Unless you do like a hair transplant or something. I'm still trying to figure out the best method for thickening edges. So once I know, I'll let you guys know that.
Yeah, it is a tough question. I do get asked that quite a bit. I remember after the birth of my second daughter, my edges left. And there's really, hair that can happen, and it all has to do with hair growth phases and the hormonal aspects of hair growth and the influences of hair growth. And the reality is that there is honestly no research supporting using castor oil to grow back your edges thicker. I'm not saying it doesn't. Maybe some people have some type of anecdotal experience, but when it comes to what the research says, there's nothing there that really grows it back. It will grow back eventually, but it takes time. I find it takes the longest time to grow back, and I don't know. I don't know why that is. It just is. The other thing too, as you spoke about in terms of tension at the hairline, what happens with really tight braids or tension around the hairline is there's an inflammatory reaction that occurs on the follicular level, the level of the follicle. So what happens is there's inflammation and the hair falls out. So again, prevention is key. You don't want to braid around the hairline too tight, or people who do the puffs and they pull their hair back really tight with the bands. You're creating tension around here. There's an inflammatory process, and then the hair follicle responds by falling out. So prevention is definitely key, because once this hairline leaves, it's very hard to grow back. Maybe other people have experience with it growing back very quickly, with an oil or whatever, but the research shows there's nothing that's going to. Castor oil doesn't do that, nor does Jamaican black castor oil. So I've heard one person say, and she's she's pretty, she consults a lot of research papers on this matter. She said that it could be due to the castor oil actually thickening the individual hair strand, so it gives the illusion that the hair's thicker, but it's not speeding up the growth at all. So
yeah, I haven't used it. I don't know. Yeah. But I've heard people say it, and I'm just like, okay, well, if you think so, then try it.
Yes.
Try. You just never know.
Right. Okay, so another question. This is really subjective to opinion, but I'm interested in trying something new in terms of style with my hair. I have a lot of hair, but it is fine 3B hair that is mid-back length. Is there a specific cutter style excuse me, that you would find looks good or recommended with my curl pattern? So 3B hair, a lot of hair, mid-back length. What does she need? Does she need some layers? Does she need some shorter layers, longer layers? I mean, that would be where a consult would come in, right, Kina?
Absolutely. Consult for that. You got to find out what you're using right now, when the last time you had a trim, if you even have a shaping at all. I suggest creating a little bit of elevation on top. So bringing your layers up a little bit. That's going to help to create fullness. Using a lightweight product, maybe a water-based product. Because what the water-based product does, it doesn't the hair hydrate, so it doesn't weigh it down too much. So
right.
You always using something that's lightweight thing, very lightweight product. It will help so much. And also, use a leave-in conditioner as well, but a very light one. Very light with it.
Okay, but definitely like a consult, because it also can depend on your face shape, how your hair falls, etc. So
yeah, you might cut it. Yeah. I mean, if it's midway down the back, it just sounds like it's very wispy on the end. And so if you have a nice bold, blunt cut at the bottom after you've layered it, it gives you a illusion of thicker hair.
Okay, awesome. So I don't see any more questions, and if no one else has questions, I just want to thank you, Kina, for taking the time to be on. And so if people want to get in touch with you, want to email you, check out your website, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, how can they get a hold of you?
All you got to do is just go to KinaMorgan.com.
And that's KEINAMORGAN, KinaMorgan.com.
Can someone write it in the chat box for me?
Yeah, I'll write it in the chat box. Yeah, that's not a problem.
I don't even see where to write. Honestly, I don't know what.
KinaMorgan.com.
Oh, there's Okay, yeah, so you can go to my website. My Instagram is hooked up to my website. My Twitter is hooked up to my website. Or you can go to Curl School for You,
Curl School
for you, and that's on Facebook.
as in okay.
Like that,
Okay,
Curl
awesome.
School on Facebook. And you can always email me at info@kinamorgan.com if you have any questions. I'm going to type that in for you as well. Or you can also call me. My number is available on my website. Oh, you got it. Oh, you typed that.
I did. One of my many skills.
And here's my number if you need to ask me any questions. My consultations are free. They should take about 15 minutes. You can do one with me online over email or over the phone, or we can do it right in my chair at the salon. And I'm just located at Yonge and St. Clair, downtown Toronto, in just walking distance from the subway, in a little shop. It's now called Jacob's Salon. It used to be Aphrodite's, and I work through Aphrodite's / Jacob's Salon independently, so you can always find me there as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. So if there are no more questions, I just want to thank Kina for coming on. It was a bunch of information. I learned a ton of new things today. If anyone has any questions for me, you can reach me at naturalistinstitute@gmail.com. You have Kina's information, and just do me a favor, everyone. Just please let people know about this. I would like as many people as possible to be on these Hangouts. They're for your benefit, to really, give you the information and educate you. And we want to bring like other really great guests on and chat and really a great community. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kina. And I will talk to you all next week. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Before you guys go, I just want to say thank you so much for coming in and being a part of this. And thank you, Susan, for having me on Naturalist Institution. And I just love what you're doing, and keep up the good work. And I just want to help share as much knowledge as I can for everyone. So thank you for doing this.
And you're welcome. All right, everyone, have a great night. Thanks a lot. Bye.
I don't know how to end this. Oh, there.